Have you ever heard of a man who never lost a single battle? A man who began his conquest at the age of 20 and nearly placed the entire world beneath his feet. He was the son of a mighty king, Philip II of Macedon. But he was no ordinary child. People said, "In his eyes burns a fire and in his mind rages a storm." He was outnumbered but never outsmarted. He feared nothing, not death, not kings, not even empires. The Egyptians saw him as a liberator from Persian rule. They cheered as he rode into the capital city of Memphis. Soon, he entered the city of Alexandria, which was to become his most enduring legacy. It would be a city that would shine as a beacon of science, commerce, and culture for centuries. Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more epic true stories. From Alexandria, he turned east, determined to finish what he started. He went through deserts, mountains and jungles, fighting wars and winning. He reached the Indus River, where he encountered war elephants and warriors unlike any he had ever seen before. He adapted his strategies and won. He reached the Arabian Sea, where he could see the vastness of his empire stretching from Greece to India. He always fought at the front lines, battling like a true warrior, inspiring his men to chant, "Alexander is invincible." He developed a mysterious fever that Western medicine couldn't diagnose. For 11 days, Alexander suffered. On the 12th day, at the peak of his glory at just 32 years old, the greatest conqueror the world had ever seen died. Before his death, his generals gathered around his sick bed and asked him who would inherit his vast empire. He summoned all his strength and whispered, "To the strongest." And with that, Alexander the Great, the man who had conquered 3 continents, died. The victories kept coming. At Issus in 333 BC, he faced the might of the Persian king Darius III. But wherever there is talk of courage, leadership, and strategy, his name echoes. Alexander was not just a general or a king, he was a legend. He was a man who dared to dream beyond limits and in doing so, changed the world forever. Again, the Persians were numerous, but Alexander was undeterred. He led his men into battle and outmaneuvered the enemy. Darius fled, abandoning his family and fortune. Alexander seized it all, including the royal family. Yet despite crushing Darius, Alexander showed mercy. He allowed Darius to live, offering him a noble title and half of his fortune. But Darius plotted revenge and raised another army. Alexander crushed it again at Gaugamela. With the Persian kings out of the way, Alexander swept through the Middle East. He conquered cities and regions, one after the other, all the while amassing an empire larger than any before him. His father hired the best teacher for him, the great philosopher Aristotle. He tutored Alexander for 8 years, teaching him everything from philosophy to warfare. But even under Aristotle's guidance, Alexander was a handful. He preferred his father's sword to his books and would spend hours pretending to be a mighty warrior. One day, Philip walked into Alexander's room and saw him practicing with his sword. Instead of getting angry, Philip smiled. "You may be too old for toys, my son," he said, handing Alexander a real weapon, "but you are never too old to learn." That day, the future king of Macedon officially became a warrior. This isn't a myth. This is the true story of Alexander the Great. Most believed he wasn't ready to rule. But when he stood before the assembled nobility, wearing not fine clothes, but armor, and looked to the horizon, all doubts were erased. No one knew it then, but those assembled there that day. They were listening to the war plans of the most successful military leader in history. Without mourning his father, Alexander launched a campaign to punish those responsible for his death. He defeated them easily and returned to Pella to take the throne. His next target was the mighty Persian Empire, the beginning born to lead in 356 BC. A boy was born in the kingdom of Macedonia, the crown and the blood when King Philip was assassinated by one of his friends. Alexander took the throne at the age of 20. The legendary Conquests, though the Persians had more soldiers, better equipment, and a 2-to-1 advantage in numbers, Alexander and his men won every battle. Egypt and Alexandria in 332 BC. Alexander and his army marched into Egypt, the mysterious end but soon after. As he approached the city of Babylon, his health started to deteriorate. The legacy lives on. More than 2,000 years have passed since Alexander the Great died. Would you have followed him if you were one of his soldiers?